What's up, guys? Hey, the trade deadline is kind of coming past for the Chiefs, and I'm a little disappointed. Not necessarily just in the fact that the Chiefs didn't make any moves. There's been so many players traded, so many players rumored to be available that would have, varying impacts upon the Chiefs team and their Super Bowl chances this year. But when I really look at, the opportunity the Chiefs had here, and I don't actually have all this in front of me, but I'm going to bring up a few teams I can think of. In terms of what we've seen across the NFL lately, is that you really want to take advantage. If you have a good quarterback, you really want to take advantage of that first contract, or while you have him, while he's undervalued. The Rams last year, while Goff was not paid yet, they were able to really stack that team up. Make a bunch of trades, sign a bunch of guys. Have a stacked roster. And then I go back to Russell Wilson's Super Bowl years with the Seahawks. Before he really got paid, they were able to stack those teams. Kaepernick and the 49ers same way before he got paid, stack those teams. That seems to be a really what you're looking for. Obviously, that you can still have consistent success, with a paid quarterback as long as he's that guy. Breeze, Brady, those guys that have been around for a while. Roethlisberger, Rodgers, all those guys. So you can do that, and Patrick Mahomes is absolutely going to be one of those guys. But I just feel like we missed an opportunity, with these 2 years. Last year was a little different because he kind of came onto the scenes, but you would have thought this year maybe. It does happen quick. I'm not saying you want to put a whole bunch of blame on any one person, but it does feel like if you compare this situation the Chiefs have to the teams I just mentioned, Rams, Seahawks, 49ers, those were great situations. Not saying you have to replicate that exactly, but when you compare it, you see where, you know, the Chiefs just aren't as stacked of a roster as those teams. I know the defense has really come along in the past couple weeks. I'm not going to talk bad about them now, but they're not, you know, as stacked as those other teams where, they're just blue chip players all up and down the roster wherever you look. On both sides of the ball and up, on the line. Playmakers, skill position, everywhere. Those teams just had like blue chip players. The Chiefs don't have very many of those players. What Kelsey, Patrick, and Tyreek? Those are the only three blue chip players on the team. And the teams I'm talking about had like six of these guys. And then other players of the caliber of the Chiefs, other good players. And the one thing they have done, they went out and signed Watkins, which at the time, of course, I love Tyreek. At the time, Tyreek was still, no one was quite sure. He was still developing as a consistent receiver. He was obviously a weapon, but not quite seen as what he is right now. So I can see maybe them thinking they needed to go out and get a receiver. But when you look at what we paid Sammy, we really haven't gotten that back. The guys, played probably half the games. And he had a good first week, but since then he's been dropping balls, and since he's been hurt, he hasn't been as explosive after the catch as he, was to start the season. I'm not blaming it again. I'm not putting all this blame on anybody, but just with the trade deadline passing, and kind of thinking like, man, obviously the Chiefs are going to compete as long as they have Pat moving forward. But did we miss an opportunity while we weren't paying him to really stack this roster? Like, somewhere, the D line, like just gets one position, one unit on the defensive side that's just stacked. How come we couldn't make that happen while we weren't paying Pat? Because once we pay Pat, these things are going to be hard to do. Like, look at the roster now while we're not paying them. When we have to pay them, what's the roster going to look like? You know, be prepared for the days where we don't have some of these guys, and it's just a struggle. We have to make some tough decisions. So I wish the Chiefs would have made the move. I think we missed an opportunity with these couple of years, but again, we still got to finish out this year. Hopefully, Pat will get back. They're saying like week 10, and we finish this season off strong and do what we do. But we'll see about that. Let me know what you guys think about who the Chiefs should have went after. If you're kind of comfortable just with what we got, and making no moves, and trying to go all in on something you're not too sure about. So, all right, you guys.